Jemima was crying in the kitchen when her mother entered. She was upset because not only was Perry wearing her things, but they were her favorite things. Her mother assured her that Perry would replace them with his pocket money. It's obviously not the first time he's done it, her mother said as she realized just how well he'd applied the makeup. Jemima said she often found things out of place, but she'd just assumed it was her mother. I never thought for a second it was Perry, she said. The thought of him rummaging through my drawers makes me sick. Well, something needs to change, her mother said, before a flash of inspiration. You always said you'd prefer Perry's room because it's bigger and has a better view, she said. Would you like to help me clear Perry's things out and you can move in tonight? Tonight? Jemima exclaimed. What about Perry? She asked. He'll move into your room, of course, her mother stated. If you'll go to such extremes to play dress up with your things, then maybe the ideal antidote is not to give him the choice. What do you mean? If he wants to dress as a girl, that's exactly what he'll be doing, whether he likes it or not. Jemima's jaw hit the floor at her mother's suggestion. She was speechless. Even for school, she asked, visualizing the scene as a thoughtful grin crossed her face. Well, much as I'd like to see him squirm. No, not for school, her mother replied. Pity. Jemima frowned. Her mother opened a cupboard and removed a large roll of bin bags. Well, let's get started, shall we? Jemima turned her nose up a little. I'm not overly keen on moving into his room. It's dirty and smelly and… Don't worry, Jemima, we can decorate this weekend. Plus it's about time you had a room more your age. Her mother smiled. Really? Jemima grinned. She bit her lip as she imagined what her new room would be like, what color she could paint it and what curtains to have. It was a dream come true for any 15-year-old girl who's eager to be a young woman. Perry was still hanging his sister's clothes back on their hangers when he heard them climb the stairs. He braced himself for the shame he'd feel when they saw him once more, wearing only his sister's stockings, knickers and bra. However, they did not enter, so Pete relaxed a little. He cursed himself for getting caught as he hung the clothes back in his sister's wardrobe. He recoiled at the horrible frilly and floral affairs which shared the same space as the trendier skirts and dresses he preferred. Once he'd tied it up, he shyly exited his sister's room and crept, in his underwear, across the landing. He knew his mother and sister were in his bedroom, so he poked his head around the door, hiding his near-nakedness from view. His heart, already fairly low, sunk to new depths as he saw his mother and sister mercilessly filling bin bags with his posters, Airfix models, old toys, and new gadgets. What? What are you doing? He rhetorically asked in a tone which lacked any hint of authority. His mother turned to see her son whimpering behind the door. What does it look like? She replied. We're making some changes. This will be Jemima's room from now on, she said as Jemima looked at her brother's face, streaked with eyeliner and his shoulder clad in nothing but the thin strap of her favorite bra. Perry looked around his bedroom. The shelves almost bare, the walls held only fragments of his posters, the floor, once littered with video games, odd shoes, dirty socks, and clothes is now an ever-growing pile of black bin bags. Mother, can I put some clothes on, please? Perry asked in the same humble voice. No, his mother spat as she pulled open his drawers and began filling a bin bag with the contents. Perry glanced around his room once more. Although fairly certain he knew the answer, Perry asked, where will I be sleeping? In Jemima's room, of course, his mother replied. But that's not fair. Perry claimed. It's not fair that you lied to me and bunked off school in order to invade your sister's room to wear her things, his mother spat, so I think it's perfectly fair that you move into your sister's room permanently. He gulped at the thought of staying in his sister's bedroom, and he knew he'd never be able to have his friends around unless it was completely redecorated. He felt he'd come up with some leverage. Mother, he asked. His mother stopped what she was doing, faced him and said, if you got something to say, come in and say it. Perry glanced down and gulped. He was still hiding behind the door, embarrassed of his attire. I mean it, Perry, you're only wearing what you chose to wear. And you'll be wearing nothing else until I decide otherwise. Perry reluctantly stepped from behind the door. Shame flooded through his veins as his mother and sister looked down at his knickers. Not very excited now, are you? His mother observed as Perry hung his head. Well, she prompted. Perry nervously glanced at his sister, before saying, I could help swap the furniture over. If you let me change, he suggested with the same lack of authority as before. His mother sighed an impatient sigh. I don't think Jemima wants that furniture anymore. But suddenly it's perfect for you, she stated. And seeing as you're offering to help, you can start by bringing Jemima's clothes through. A brief moment of stasis passed before his mother said, I wasn't asking. Can I put some clothes on first? Perry asked. Please, he pleaded. His mother looked him up and down, from the toes of his stockings to his pink and purple undergarment and matching top. After you've emptied your room of all Jemima's clothes.